This is the new generation Toyota Vellfire, which arrives in Malaysia at about 440,000 ringgit. With a 2.5-litre naturally aspirated engine up front, a super CVT in the middle, as well as a raft of upgrades both inside and out. This appears to be the Datuk-Mobile of choice, and we're going to take a very quick look at this to see what's what. But before we do so, be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified every time we make a new upload. But ladies and gentlemen, this is our very quick walk around of the new Toyota Vellfire. Now, before we move on to the styling, we have to first talk about the powertrain. So under this bonnet, you will find a 2.5-litre naturally aspirated dynamic force engine mated to a super CVT automatic gearbox. Now, according to Toyota, the power outputs have been massaged ever so slightly compared to the outgoing model, which means it produces a little bit more power, but more importantly, a little bit more torque. And more importantly, they have also tweaked the throttle control unit to provide a little bit more power with every input, making the car feel a little bit more powerful. Now, the thing about the Vellfire is that it is designed and therefore its dimensions are in order to fit certain requirements in Japan, which means it hasn't really grown all that much. However, they have stretched the wheelbase to go along with this new platform. And as a result, that means there is a little bit more space inside. But on top of that platform, you will find a fully redesigned exterior with a much bolder face, which is framed by a couple of very slim LED headlights, which on the Vellfire include sequential turning signals front and rear, and overall it does look pretty good as far as a van is concerned, at least. And on the side, you can see there are some elements that we have seen before from the Lexus van, the LM, if I recall correctly. For example, the chrome strip that comes all the way up to here, which usually continues on the Lexus, which you don't get here, but that's still there, and you even get a little Vellfire logo here. Rolling stock is handled by a pair, or rather a set, of 19-inch dual-tone alloy wheels wrapped in Dunlop Sport Max tyres, which is a particularly high-performance tyre for what is ultimately a luxury van. Standard equipment includes things like power doors left and right, as well as a powered tailgate replete with a hands-free opening function. Now, at the rear, you will find again a set of full LED taillights with a new graphic design, which is different from the Alpha, and if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out over here. But overall, you can tell this is a brand new generation of vehicle, and that is evident the moment you look at it. A couple of things about the rear end of the Vellfire that I quite like. First is the fact that the rear wiper is hidden up in the very large spoiler, which means its back end looks quite clean, and also you now get a light bar, because all fancy cars have to have light bars now. The other thing is the fact that, of course, you have a boot release button here, but because this door swings open quite a way, you also have the option of pressing a button on the side of the tail lights, which I think is quite nice. Now, one of the things that hasn't changed for this generation of vehicle is the way the seats fold, because unfortunately they remain the type that fold forward and then to the side. And as a result, as you can see, with the seats in place, there really isn't that much room here, although I can actually slide this seat a little bit further forward if I need some cargo space while still maintaining some degree of room in there. But overall, if you have both of these seats folded up, you will find that space in here is kind of limited. That said, however, the load level has reduced quite significantly. This is because the new generation Vellfire is built off of the Toyota New Global architecture, and as a result, it means this is the first time that the Vellfire is built on a monocoque construction. So therefore, the floor has been lowered. Also improves egress and ingress, apparently. Well, it wasn't difficult for me to get in at all, despite my rather diminutive frame. Now, the interior of the Vellfire is where I feel Toyota has made the most significant improvements, because this is a huge departure from the vehicle before it. For starters, all the materials appear to have been given a rather significant upgrade. Everything in here feels really plush and very upmarket. This exceeds what we've seen from the Toyota Harrier, and in fact is on par with some Lexus models that we've seen in the past. The same goes in terms of technology, because now we have this absolutely massive screen here, which has switched off and is moving me away. There we go. So we have this absolutely massive screen, which includes things like the HVAC controls. Yes, welcome to you too. and even includes these buttons that go on top of the screen, which will display your temperature and so on. Thank you. Which will display your temperature as well as various other functions in this little bar down here. Now, as standard, this car comes with a heated steering wheel. It also comes with heated and ventilated front seats, and as far as I'm concerned, it does look pretty good. If I had to complain about one thing, it's the fact that this panel down here, where you find your gear lever as well as your electronic parking brake and so on, is all done up in piano black. Now, there appears to be a slight grain to it, or is that just oil? No, there is no grain, which means that this piano black surface is going to scratch very, very quickly. And if you use this vehicle as a chauffeur car, well, you can only imagine. Now, the few things I do appreciate. Firstly, you do get a wireless charger here and a couple of USB-C ports, which means that it will now be able to charge devices much faster than before. You also get integrated Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which means it will be even easier for you to use your Waze and Spotify and so on. And of course, all of the switchgear is laid out in a very logical manner. All of the ADAS systems that can be controlled from here, all the buttons that you need in order to control the information here are all put here. And as far as I'm concerned, it all falls very easily to hand. And of course, there is the fact that you of course get memory functionality for the driver's seat in case you have multiple drivers, because honestly, would you really be driving your own Vellfire? Let's be honest, this is where you'll be spending the majority of your time in a Vellfire. And again, Toyota has reworked a lot of the stuff in here in order to make this a little bit better. So firstly, for example, all of the aircon controls that used to be everywhere on the roof are now centralized into this center tunnel, which means that all the controls you need are very easily accessible. On top of that, the air conditioning units themselves have been updated. So now, instead of just having center vents, we also get roof vents here in the middle that are more effective in cooling passengers and keeping them cool and comfy too. Now, these rear seats are only partially powered. So you have a powered ottoman and you have a powered backrest, but to slide them fore and aft, you still need to pull a lever and use manual labor. Now, mercifully, however, everything else in here is powered. So you have powered sunshades here. You also have powered sunshades on the rear windows. You have a powered sunshade for the twin individual moonroofs for the rear passengers that the front passenger or the driver no longer gets to enjoy. And overall, things in here do feel quite nice. There's a cup holder here. There is a fold-out table here, which I certainly appreciate. And you even get a 3-pin plug in the center in order for you to, for example, charge a laptop and work on the go. Unfortunately, however, as I mentioned, the table only sits in the middle. You can't seem to fold it up. For that, you'll have to pay an extra 100,000 bucks. And if you'd like to see what I mean, click here. Now, in terms of getting to the rear, we are told that these seats are supposed to be able to fold away. But honestly, I suspect that most people are going to be squeezing through the middle. And when they do, you will find that space back there is quite comfortable for 2 passengers, 3 in a squeeze. And of course, like I showed you earlier, if the rear seats are pushed all the way to the back, you are going to sacrifice a lot of rear seat space, or rather rear cargo space, but you can't have it all, I guess, unless you buy a Kia Carnival. Now, as part of this update, the Toyota Vellfire also benefits from Toyota's Safety Sense 3.0, and that is, of course, Toyota's latest safety suite. As a result, that means that these cars come with full level 2 semi-autonomy, including things like radar-guided cruise control with traffic jam assist, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, lane centering, driver attention warning, as well as a variety of other things, all of which I cannot be bothered to list down here because you're going to go and find out somewhere else anyway. But that does mean that this is a very comprehensively equipped family car, should you want to use it as such, or potentially take the strain off of a driver. Now, the Toyota Vellfire is expected to retail at 438,000 ringgit, which is a lot of money for a van, especially given the fact that with this 2.5 litre, it is no doubt going to consume more fuel than what you get from, say, the Hyundai Staria Premium or the 7-seater Kia Carnival, both of which are powered by turbo diesels. Now, let us know what you think about the new Vellfire in the comments section below. Do you think this is a good-looking car? Is this something that you'd consider? And more importantly, do you think they're delusional with the price? Let us know in the comment section below. In any case, that's been our walk around of the 2023 Toyota Vellfire. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so that every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can follow us on WhatsApp on our channel. Again, the link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.